Glens Falls Industrial Development Agency board meeting, and follow will be the Greater Glens Falls IDA-LDC meeting, and those are the two meetings that we're doing today. We have a quorum of our board members. One board member, James Reed, is not with us today, but everybody else is here, and so we're ready to go. Also, all of our staff and key advisors are here, except for Mark Cooney, and Jeff will report on this one. So thank you. In terms of administrative reports, we have a number of items that we're going to go through today, and we are continuing to meet to get ready for our annual meeting, and it will probably be sometime at the end of March. We still do not have a date yet when the auditor will have the audit done, and so I have not set that date yet, but I hope to have a date before this week, and be able to get that information out to everyone. So we'll set the date of our March meeting, and according to the auditors will be prepared, because we have to prove first.
Yeah, and Mark did send all the information over to Jean Lapper, so she has that, so we'll probably have, he's got to get back to the 21st or 22nd, I believe.
Okay.
So he said he'll follow up with her to see if she needs anything else, and that may help inform
All right.
the day we need for the.
And I'll call Jean and see if she can give us a confirmation, okay?
Yeah.
So that is all I have. I'm gonna turn it right over to Jeff and anything that.
I have a lot of things to talk about, but none under a general report, so if you just want to go down the line, we'll get to those as we get through them.
Okay. So we have, in preparation for the annual meeting, we have a number of documents, some of which that we as board members need to complete. And Suzanne has provided us with the acknowledgement of fiduciary duties and responsibilities. And if you would please take a look at that and complete that and get that back to Suzanne before the end of March, that would be great. The document is prepared in accordance with the Public Authority Accountability Act and the ABO website documents, and so it's consistent with their form. It's a form that we've used in the past and that we've previously approved the use of, and so please take a look at that. And then I don't think there's anything else that we as board members need to fill out, but there are about 30 or so documents that staff are going through to make sure that they do not need to be updated. If there were any updates, we would probably do them in March. But I think that things that we've done in the past, and we're usually in pretty good order with that. So big item is going to be our annual report, which we'll have ready before the March meeting and the audit. Okay. Anything else, Jeff? I'll go right to minutes.
No, yeah.
Okay. So we have before us the minutes from the January 8th meeting. Any questions or comments on those? Okay. So is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Being none, motion is passed and the minutes are approved. I did have one question on that as to whether or not you met with 3+1 yet, Jeff?
We have not. Well, we did meet with the mayor and spoke to them. I have not followed up with them.
I did actually, I could give you an update. So we met with them, and basically the city has a contract with them, and my goal was to see if we could incorporate these boards in that rather than have to get separate contracts. So they did, I talked to them late yesterday, which is why I hadn't had a chance to tell you yet, but they said that they thought that made sense to do one contract, but they wanted to reevaluate the price of that, and so the city was paying, I don't have it in front of me, but a little over $14,000, and they wanted to up it to about $18,000 to do all of, they said they could do the IDA, the LDC, the CDC. It's not that big of a difference, and basically they do an evaluation and see if they can identify savings, and if the savings that they identify don't exceed the cost of the contract, then you don't pay it. Yeah, so that's how they operate. So I, wanna talk to the common council about that and see what they think, but I don't know what you all think about that as well.
I wouldn't do it for the CDC, there's not sufficient resource to do it. I would do IDA and LDC, so I would add the two public authorities.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's a cost sharing method we could come up with.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, which we've done for several things, you know, including accounting and legal, and sort of split these up. I think, yeah, I mean, it seems like the LDC would be a sort of a no-brainer. I guess the question would be, if you're looking at the two agencies really, could you get what sounds like about $4,000? Could you earn more, or get more than $4,000 of value than you could spend, assuming that the council's okay with adding that additional incremental cost on? Seems possible, that you could, yeah. The question is, could you get more than we're earning now? Yeah, it's worth checking. I mean, I think it'd be worth doing
Yeah.
the legwork.
Basically, the way it works is we would kick off a new evaluation. The city had done it previously, with this new contract, and they would have to present to us how we could earn more and save more. And again, if it doesn't exceed the cost, then we don't do it.
Right.
So there's not really any harm in looking at it, I think.
Yeah, so they sort of anticipate within guidelines of how much they think they can earn you versus what you're doing now. And if the delta's higher than the cost, then it's probably worth it.
They don't do the investments on our behalf, they show
Sure.
us, and so then it's up to us to actually follow through and do that,
Right.
so,
Right.
but they show you the path, so. If we are amenable to that, I can also talk to the common council and see what they think, but
Okay.
I think it would be a good time to restart that process for the city anyway, so.
And if it's $4,000 more and we're gonna add the two organizations, we could do 2,000 apiece and do that.
It's not a huge amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little under 4,000, it's like 3 something, but yeah, approximately, so.
Okay.
Yep, okay.
Okay.
When I get the new contract, proposal from the vendor, I'll share it with everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good. All right. So then the next item is the financial report for the month ending January 31, 2026.
Yeah, Mark left this in my able hands. If you look at the page of the financial report, you'll see that there was only really one income item, well, two if you count $3 of interest. There was a $300 agency fee. I believe that was Bonaccio's annual administrative fee for their project. So that was the only transaction. Everything else was sort of pulled from December. So that's all for the financial report.
And Kara, we did have a closing, and so we will have some funding coming in.
Yes,
related to
that check I gave to Suzanne this morning, so she has that check. It's 34,000, oh, 50.
Okay, great, thank you. So that'll show up next month, good. Any questions on the financial report? Is there a motion to approve the financial report as presented?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? There being none, the motion is approved, the financial report's approved, and we'll get that posted. One of the things that we have, I think, discussed was that Jeff was going to attend, or did attend a statewide conference on economic development, and when he gets us that bill, we'll vote to reimburse him, but we don't have that yet, but he did go to that last week.
Yeah, and I'll talk about that in just a minute or two when we get down to other reports.
Okay. Excuse me. So the payment of bills, there's 6. I can quickly go through them. It's Mark Toomey, Fitzgerald Morris Baker, Firth, 2 bills for them. 2 bills for Charter Communications, and we have a 4-month bill for 1822 Ridge Street for the farm. And how's it?
Yeah, just want to, I'll have an update on that too. That's when we get to other reports I have with
Okay.
the projects.
So that's the rent we've been covering, and that's the same amount that we've covered in the past. Okay. The total amount of the bills to be paid this month, if approved, is $587.13. Any questions or comments on the payment of bills? There being none, is there a motion to approve payment of bills as reported in Schedule A?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? There being none, the motion is approved, and we'll get those bills paid. Related to that, we are working with our bank to get the signatures changed on our accounts, and that's in process. We did have former Mayor Bill Collins' name removed from all accounts, and we're adding Mayor Diana Palmer, and we're in the process of signing those documents. We'll get that done probably this week, hopefully. So, let's see. Let's see, end of year pilot agreement documentation.
Yeah. So, as Judy mentioned, I was at the last couple of days, I was at the statewide EDC, Economic Development Council meeting down in Albany. This is an annual meeting. One of the topics there that was of interest to me, sort of dry but still important, was there's a new director for the ABO, the agency budgeting office, and they are looking to revamp the Paris, the public agency reporting information system, which you guys all know as Paris. The current system apparently was, at least according to this director, was created by the staffers when the agency was formed, rather than sort of professional IT people. If you've ever gone through the system, it would be kind to call it Byzantine, but they're trying to revamp the whole thing and make it simpler, more transparent. In the meantime, it's probably going to take a couple of years. But one of the things, of course, they're trying to do, as the ABO is always trying to do, is to get more transparency. This coincides with some requests we had, when the Bonaccio was asking us at the end of the year, what kind of forms we need for reporting and documentation for how the projects are doing. And we don't have a lot of that. There's a couple standard forms that they have to file for the government, for sales tax things. But talking to Kara, it looks like there's the Warren Washington IDA has a pretty good document that helps to understand projects and how they are performing, which is something that the ABO is really interested in looking at over time. The ability to sort of look back without doing incredible extensive forensics. In each project, looking at, even if it's a self-reporting thing, it's something you can verify, right, as opposed to just starting from scratch. So I just gave you a blank copy of the document that the WWIDA is using. It might give us a template. One of the big things they're focused on, the ABO focuses on, of course, is job creation. The projects that we do here are not at the level of these concerns that they have at the state, where they're talking about, 300 new jobs, and they only had 260 new jobs, and they want to claw back the money for the 40 jobs that weren't created. You might have seen that just happen, in fact, last week down at Plug Power. They had they built in Slingerlands, they built a big campus, and they've come up short on the number of employees they were going to add. They gave them an extension, but the fact is that these kinds of things on large scale are substantial. I think it's timely for us because, in the time that I've been here since 2021, up until recently, we only had the one big project with Bonaccio, the phase 1 project through the IDA. And, in the last year, we've had 5, right? If you include, of course, Crew Coffee, the 2 on South Street, Chris Patton, and Ryan Connor's building in Union Square, then the 2 recent ones we've just done over in the first ward at the Lawrence Street and the Maple Street project. So it seems like as we're getting started with these projects, this is a good time to sort of look at doing some deeper diving, reporting and getting this kind of information, which I can tell you they're going to be asking for from the ABO, and to try to get this in a more simpler way is always helpful. Especially when you have a very small part-time staff who is doing lots of other things to try and get this information. So, I'm giving you this just as something to look over. Maybe next month we can sort of see if this works for our purposes, if we want to move in a different direction or add things or modify them. I think we have some leeway, but I think it's a good start.
Great.
So, that's that.
So we'll take a look at that, we'll get back to you next month, and
Yes, and as Judy mentioned, I'll get my expenses together, there's a few $100 for the conference and then the travel expenses.
okay, it was down in Albany.
You know,
Okay, good. Was it yesterday?
it was Tuesday and yesterday. It started Tuesday morning and ended yesterday.
So yesterday was a housing lobby day, and I was there, and I parked in that building, and you had to say that you were going to that conference.
Oh, is that the one you went to, 12
I might have
hours?
said
Well, you know,
that.
the first day I went in there,
I was-
the guy said, well, we can't take a credit card, and I said, oh, I
Yeah,
can
you had
cash.
to
I said,
pay.
can I get a receipt? Oh, I don't have receipts. I said, well, I'm basically stuck, and how do I even know I paid when I leave? You know, there was nobody there, of course, the gate was up when I left.
Yeah, it was $12, I had to do the same,
Oh, yeah.
they only had to pay cash.
Was
Okay.
that on Eagle Street?
Yeah, you know, you go around that little
I went to a
tiny,
home show on
I'm surprised.
Sunday or Saturday, and it was the same thing.
You had to,
Cash.
cash, 12.
Wow.
What a-
and for the worst elevators in the world, I don't know if you ever, the elevators are the worst, slowest. They got 2 doors that go in different directions, anyway.
Well, I needed to be at the hotel across the street, so I didn't even go in there, but I did park there. Oh my, and they kept saying, it's an economic development. I'm like, is this what Jeff is at? Anyways, okay, sorry about that. All right, so then we'll go to project reports, and let's do 47 Luzerne Road Crew Coffee. I think I saw construction.
Yes, yes, and in fact, they just extended, Ken, I think you know, they just extended, asked for the extension of their sales tax rebate. They gave us, I think, the forms for that. We also had a slight glitch in that their insurance was going to lapse, it didn't. We got the forms for that, because of course, you know, we're uninsured on that project. So they're moving forward, so I don't know if they gave us a deadline, but I think they're looking at the end of it, you know, by the end of the first half of the year, it should be largely complete construction.
So,
But we need to approve that extension, or consider the approval of that extension, because it will expire at the end of this month.
so let's do that right now, if that's okay with people?
The dollar amounts of the construction haven't changed, there's no increase in benefit, it's just extension of time through the end of June.
Do we want to do the end of June, or do we want to go behind and so that,
That's
I
what
mean,
we, that's what we
No,
They
I
always, I know, they always ask what, then
Yeah.
somebody
I
ends up.
think we should go beyond that.
we
It's
should?
been our practice, yeah.
So let's go to, August, end of August, 8:31, is that all right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll make a motion, to approve, the extension of the S2 ST60, for the, Crew Coffee project at 47 Luzerne Road. The name of the entity for Crew Coffee is 87 North Enterprises LLC. And I'd like to extend that, and that covers, sales tax also?
That's it.
Sales tax exemption,
Mhm.
and we're gonna extend it through, August 31, 2026. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays, any abstentions? There being none, it's approved, and we'll get that signed and get that over to them. Okay, 76 Lawrence Street. Closing, we had a closing.
Yeah, Karen, that actually closed, did that, what date did that close, you remember? Was
This
it
Friday?
Last Friday?
Friday?
Last Saturday, last Thursday.
Last Saturday?
Oh, Thursday.
Lawyers and bankers working on Saturday, that's it.
It was last Thursday.
Didn't they come and sign on Thursday?
The Wednesday, you came on
Okay, so
Wednesday.
it's
Yep, so
Thursday.
it all closed, everything went well. We closed on Thursday and everything funded on Friday, so, and then so.
And now the check you were referring to that we got.
So they're off and running with their, sales tax and they can move forward with their project now.
So they'll start construction soon. And I haven't gone by there, but I did go by, 179 Maple, is it
78.
78 Maple,
Mhm.
and there's quite a bit of construction
Yeah.
going on there, there's a lot of work going on there, so.
Yeah, I've been working with them through the, that Restore New York grant, so we're trying to get they're keeping good documentation for that.
Okay, good. And then, I know that we've got a pilot with, Chris Patton and stuff on South Street, that seems to be moving forward.
Yeah, he's got, I'll talk more about that in the LDC, he's got tenants in, one tenant in there is actually already operating as a beauty salon, along those lines.
Does he need, we should probably check our, documents for that and see if he needs an extension on the sales tax on that.
Yeah,
He's got a ways still on his.
He does.
yeah, he's trying, he thinks he's gonna be done by the end of the month.
Great.
Oh,
Really?
Well, that's what he told me. I called him and he didn't have time to talk because he was trying to get his business or his building done. I said, no, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. But that's what he said.
okay.
Because I was trying to get some information with the school district to see when projects are gonna get on the rolls for them from Iowa.
Okay,
We'll see.
very good.
But when does that, do you know when that expires? It's not until,
I can check, it's.
He's got several months out.
He's got a while before, cause I checked them and.
oh, he's got a while.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already in June and I don't see it, or he's got through the summer,
Okay,
at least through the summer,
okay.
I don't see it in the calendar.
And then one other project I just want to mention, I was talking about the farm. So I was at an event at WorkSmart about a week and a half ago, and one of the people who was speaking there as well, this was a small business development, helping individual owners become larger. And one of the people who was there was Kim London, who's the head of the business division at SUNY Adirondack. She's also has a farm. She was also a consultant to a lot of farm entities, small business, especially food businesses. We talked very briefly, but we're going to set up a call to try and get together. She's also involved in Startup ADK. Startup ADK, which of course is a SUNY initiative, is somewhat being transitioned, the primary role from the college to one kind of EDC. So in this sort of transition, I want to talk to Kim and see if there's a way we could sort of, get off the dime here and get this, transition this project into private hands. It's maybe in a perverse way, it's sort of convenient because, right now, Brian Bronzino is doing work on the second floor of that building. He's putting in 3 apartments. So it's, can't really access the 3rd floor terribly easily right now. So it's maybe convenient in that sense, that we have a little bit of time. But I want to talk to her and see if we can get something moving pretty quickly and put out an RFP for someone to run that facility and sort of get it out of the IDA's lab, so to speak.
What's happening with that facility now?
It's dormant. It's operational. It's operational, but it's not operating. Because the problem was that I had the guy I had, the young kid I had who was running it, was not really able to sort of sell it. He's an electrician's apprentice, so he can't really devote the time he needs to get it to actually operate. So right now it could start up tomorrow, but it's not.
So the only overhead is the cost of the space?
No.
Okay.
And the equipment that's in it is in the.
That's already
space.
paid for. That's all. That's
It's
all.
there.
Yeah, the only expense is the rent, which is very low for that space. I mean, if you use about $1 a square foot, it would be an $1,800 space. It's not-
But you're basically storing equipment in it right now. And not
Correct.
doing anything.
Okay. So, Kim London wants to do this in partnership with SUNY Adirondack or separately?
I just said I wanted to talk to you about how we could sort of transition this, and she's aware of it. She said, I'd love to sit down and talk to you, see how we can do it.
At some point, if we don't find somebody who wants to do it, it might be worth thinking if selling the equipment and unloading the lease makes more sense.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's possible.
So, okay, thank you.
And it'd be worth maybe talking to the farmer's market about it too, and see if there's some of the farmers that participate in our farmer's market would be interested.
Yeah, we've had lots of people who sort of reached out, and the question is, how do we sort of affect this transition in such a way that, one, the assets are protected, at least, so you're not just giving money to somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, so that you guys have an interest in it. And, making sure that if it's gonna continue, that it's a viable project that somebody can continue to run. So,
It might be worth also talking to, what's her name? From Mint. Johanna Gelden, about it, because she used to do this, and she does have space in her, but she works cooperatively with several of the farmers that come here. Most of the a lot of the food that she has at Mint is from the farmers that come to our farmers market.
talking to.
Wasn't the former chef of, I'm gonna forget her name. flight.
Yeah.
She's
moving.
moving.
I do know she's moving, but wasn't she also growing her own? I
Yes,
seem to recall that she had a lot of her own things that she was growing at
yeah.
the current
Yeah,
location as
She's
well.
going, I don't know who owns that building, but it's right across the front. Yeah,
Kind of done, isn't it?
yeah, to,
From across the
City.
pharmacy.
yeah, right across from pharmacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
when we
Yeah,
were,
the corner spot, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's going in there.
Restaurants there, right?
yeah, yeah, it's in that space, it's just
It
an
was some
event.
type of, they were doing, meetings or gatherings, small gatherings there, and she's going in there.
Yeah, there were several restaurants when we were running this pilot that we were producing and giving them the stuff. I mean, we didn't have a sales model set up, the city wasn't really in any position to sort of set up a commerce model. But, you know, we had pharmacy, we had Radici, we had, at the time, Flight, we had, Morgan and Company. The hotel said they would have taken stuff, but they needed way more than they could even produce, I think, for their stuff. So, you know, there was a lot of people that just wasn't a commerce model set up, and, you know, that's what we really need, that's what it needs.
I don't think it would be bad to reach out to the manager of the farmer's market and to some of these businesses.
I've talked to Tom Wells a few times about that, you know, to see if they have somebody who's interested. A lot of it has to do with the technology, and it's not like farming. I mean, it is like farming here, but it's not, you know.
I know.
They're both wonderful things, but they're not the same. Interestingly, I had a great conversation with Nick Gazettis, the Newly Lunch, who runs a farm up in Washington County, where he lives. And he was interested in talking more. So there's some interest.
So you're gonna keep working on this and you're gonna report back to us, and if you need help from us, then you'll get it, but.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Any other business? There's no need for an executive session. So again, we don't have a meeting date yet set for March, so, as you know, it's our annual meeting, and we'll get that to you hopefully as soon as possible. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you. Mayor, all in your hands.
Okay, so I will call to order the Greater Glens Falls Local Development Corporation meeting. We've already acknowledged the quorum and our staff that are here, so I will move on to administrative reports, approvals, and resolutions. Judy already let us know that we don't have a date yet for the March meeting. Distribution of the evaluations and acknowledgement of fiduciary duties form, which you mentioned as well. I think we all have that. Did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes? Any concerns or questions? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Any questions or any verbal reports on the finance?
Just if you look at that, there was no transactions as well, all from December, except for $29 in interest.
Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the financial report?
I'll make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Then we have the payment of bills. It looks like there are 3 bills. Mark Toomey has 1, and then 2 for Fitzgerald Morris Paper Food. Any questions on that? The scheduled bills totals $25,1473. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. There's a resolution to both remove past mayor Bill Collins and add current mayor Diana Palmer as the check signer. Any questions or concerns about that? Anyone want to make a motion?
Make a motion.
Okay,
Second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. And then the amendment to the lease for 36 Inc. between the city and the LDC. Do you want to talk about this?
Sure, you've got a copy of that in your packet. This is when Bonaccio, the agreement we had with Bonaccio for the space at 36 Inc., right, called for them to complete some, what they call landlord's work in order to hand the building over. This was planned to be done when the remainder of the building, excuse me, when the remainder of the building was occupied, which it currently is. There's, the residential spaces are all being leased out. I think they're all but two that are already leased. So in theory, they could have completed this work and begun the lease probably as early as November. So they pushed this off until March, but what they've come to us and said is, we need to complete the landlord's work and begin charging rent. We, as we'll talk about in just a minute, the city is putting out an RFP, and this body will be involved in this process once we get it done, but we're just working on a draft as quickly as we can to get an operator for that space. Because we're trying to provide some flexibility for this operator to use the space, we didn't want Bonaccia to go too far down the road of doing landlord's work that might have to be undone, right, and incurring extra costs. So what we said to them was, listen, we understand that you're not completing the landlord's work because we were asking you not to temporarily, and they said, yes, but can we go ahead and then begin the lease for the space as of March 1st. The council passed that because, of course, the city is the primary leaseor. And then the LDC, of course, is a subletter from the city. So that was passed at the council on Tuesday, and then this body would have to agree to the same resolution.
So what's the difference between what we passed before and this one?
All you're doing is saying we're allowing the lease to commence as of March 1st, despite the fact that a portion of the landlord's work has not yet been done, pending the selection of an operator.
We want an opportunity to find private partnership, and if we develop that space with a specific use, it'll be more difficult to find someone. So we're kind of whiteboxing it and then putting out an RFP to see how someone might want to use that space. But the lease was requiring them to fit it out completely, and we're letting them out of that to give us more flexibility to find a partner. Does that make
So
sense?
we're not doing the fit out, basically?
No.
Of the interior, but okay.
But it'll have, it'll be ready to go in terms of electricity and all of that
Yeah,
stuff.
we actually have a meeting, I believe this afternoon, if I'm not mistaken, Mayor, with AJA, or very soon, it's not, to talk about the reduced scope of work.
Yeah.
So we'll have a good handle on what we're gonna do to have this RFP and what we can offer prospective operators.
And that work for the landlord work is clear and distinct from that other
Correct.
GC contract?
Correct.
And are we still talking with, the people that we were talking with before to take the space,
Well, you're talking about the CCE? Not at this point. The Cornell Cooperative, who we've been having conversations with, are subject to, they were subject to any kind of approval from the Warren County, right? This was the headquarters or the, whatever, I think a branch of that would run several facilities like this. They had gone and presented to the Warren County CCE, who sort of begged off, at least at this point, begged off in participating in the process, which is what prompted us to say we need to go out and get an RFP to find a private operator for the facility.
What has been done? What is there right now?
It's been framed up, but things like, the problem is, how much of you want to put up the walls, if you're going to depend on where your electricity, what about the plumbing you could do generally, but depending on whether or not you're going to have a kitchen, for instance, will dictate whether you need what kind of ventilation and,
So
hoods and vents.
So if we have, you just mentioned if we have a kitchen, is there now discussion that the original plan that we've been talking about for a few years is now changing?
It could change depending on the operator that the LDC and or city choose. I mean, what we're trying to do is we're trying to give operators as much flexibility as we can to say, how could this facility be used? Keeping in mind that and the state is aware of this, we've had meetings with them, that they're saying, listen, there is a spirit, right, if not a dictum, of how the space is supposed to be used
Well, that was my
to
next
serve the
question.
community.
What are our obligations as far as all the work we've been doing with the state?
Yeah.
So we've met with the state multiple times, and they understand what we're trying to do, which is basically mitigate the city and LDC's costs for operations. And they seem supportive. They've made comments that these commercial kitchens haven't always been successful in other parts of the state, and they understand what we're trying to do. So our goal is to find a private partner and not dictate to them exactly how they have to use the space, but see what they present to us, with some parameters that it fits within the spirit of the intention of the DRI. So that RFP is being developed, and we will share it with you, so you'll see what we're putting out there.
Yeah, we're looking to do this sooner than later, so I mean, you know, obviously, and this is part of the timeframe is that, you know, the meter is now going to begin running in just a few weeks, as far as, you know, the paying for
Is the
this.
state gonna give us the DRI funds?
We've been having conversations with the state, also about seeing if we can, you know, get some reimbursements. We've got some good responses from them, so we're optimistic.
You know, we have met a couple times. I have also been trying to do some advocacy. I was at the state for Lobby Day for cities and training at NICOM, and I did have a conversation with the ESD commissioner and kind of explained what we're trying to do. And I've had conversations with other staff from ESD, and they are looking favorably upon what we're trying to do. And I think our end goal is to have them reimburse us for almost everything and hold back a small amount until we find some partnership with this. And that's what we're asking for, and it seems like we will be able to move in that direction.
And in the meantime, they're aware of these plans and are, you know, with the understanding that, right, there's a community-centric aspect to this facility, and as well as a complementary aspect to it, right?
This is a very small piece of what the DRI was, and the DRI project ended up being much greater than what they had originally approved. I would think that they should be in a position to reimburse us 100%, and I'd be happy to.
We like your thinking anyway, Judy.
Well, we've made a lot of progress from the beginning of conversations we had until now, and I think we're moving in a good direction, so we'll keep you updated. I think we should be able to get a significant portion back, and if you have other ideas.
I think there are other DRIs across the state that have had similar situations and have been reimbursed. And I think we should be treated the same, but I'd be happy to talk to you about that or go to the meetings with them. I used to be on the board.
That's great, Julie. Thanks. Yeah. Okay.
So I guess we'd have to get this approval from the board for the amendment. Karen?
Yes.
Okay. And we've got a copy of it within our documents, I think I saw.
And to authorize the mayor to sign it on behalf of the LDC.
I'll make a motion that we do that.
Can I just ask one question? Why is the lease starting on March 1st if it's not?
One of their reasons is because, well, they need to start getting money for a building they consider finished. Another one is they can't apply for it. They need historic tax credit. They have milestones they have to reach. And they have to have a certain threshold of completion. And completion is either having a CO or getting rent.
So, had we not done this, they would have just rushed the fit out, and then we would have had to start paying, but would have had less opportunity to find a private partner.
Okay. Understand.
I would ask that you have, because of our role in all of these projects, I would ask that they provide you with documents related to the historic tax credits, their application,
Sure.
who their investor's going to be, and what that investment.
The investment for these tax credits is the Glens National.
It's Glens Falls National? Okay. That would be good for us to have those documents. Okay.
I think there was a motion, and then was there a second?
Yeah, second, I'll second.
Okay. Call in favor. Aye. Is there anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. Do you want to update us? On
Yeah,
this
so as we mentioned, we have a draft of an RFP. I know the manager at least reviewed it briefly. You know, we'll get some feedback relatively quickly. I think the one thing that we need to do from this perspective is, we need to establish, I suppose, at least a couple of members of this body to be on the review committee for the RFP. So, once we get prospective applicants or respondents to the proposal, I don't know how what the process for that would be. Kara, is this something that we could use? Can committee members be? Is there a way that a committee could be appropriately assigned to this, or should we have volunteers, or how would we?
Yeah, you have the ability to have a committee convene for purposes to review this. The committee meetings are public meetings, et
Yeah.
cetera, so. You just have to be cognizant of that when you're scheduling those meetings.
Well, to the extent that the mayor will already be on the review
Yeah.
group, is there, I would say, at least one of them, maybe two other folks, the minimum should be on the review committee.
Sure. I could help.
Anyone want to volunteer? Judy?
I can do it.
Yeah?
Okay,
Okay.
and then maybe someone from the council too, I would.
Yeah. And I probably will also ask Jim Thatcher to be on, because he was helpful in creating the.
And our new city planner would be very helpful. We just hired Allison Gabby to be our new development, director of planning and zoning for the city, and I think she would look good, yeah.
Well,
So,
Chief Doctor?
yeah.
So we'll get that out, I would assume, within the next week or two, at the very latest. Katie's Wine and Whiskey Bar, they're sort of in a holding pattern, they're getting some of the work done. They're the ones who are in one of the spaces in Chris Patton's building, 4656. Just so you know, he does have 5 tenants. He's got Katie's Whiskey Bar, there's another bar doing in the fellow, I think, in a place in Saratoga. There's the salon that's there now. There is one I don't have listed here, but there's another one that we're working with on the small business support program called Florio's Mercantile, and this is a women's boutique. They've submitted an application for some support from the SBS as well, and so that's Frank Minio and his wife Ali Gazettis Minio. Ali, of course, from the New Way Lunch. Interesting, that's a space that's going to be, they're going to be occupying the space where New Way Lunch began in South Street until they moved down the street. So there's coming full circle, so it's a great opportunity. So Katie's Wine and Whiskey Bar, the board has agreed to support a purchase of, I think they have some specialty equipment for storing wine and things like that. And then we've just gotten some information from this Florio's, I think. And I'll get that to you once we have some next month. I'll probably have a resolution for you to approve. One other one is I met just last week with David Howard from Urbest, and they're looking to expand. They were actually interested. He was intrigued by, of all places, the AI Nexus building. I don't know if you're all aware, but that building was purchased by Jeff Ives from Jonathan Reed. He just purchased the AI Nexus building. He's going to be moving Jonathan Reed into that building. And then, of course, we'll have a vacancy down the street in a very nice building. In the meantime, David Howard from Urbest was looking to expand, was looking at that space. They do a lot of administration functions, office functions, and a lot of training they do. In the absence of that space being available, he's now looking at expanding the second floor of their current building, which is the one where the New Way, or the Rock Hill Bakery used to be. If you know that building, it's the upstairs is only like a third of the building. So the rest of it, they're looking at now expanding to create a full second floor. They might need 8-10 more people in the next couple of years. So he's going to send me a budget of what they're looking at. I got a preliminary budget from him, but the idea would be is there's a package of support that the IDA and or LDC can provide, either to the SBS, to the USDA small loan program you have, or if you need some help. If he's doing a construction project, if you need some help from the IDA, you can present us with that too. So it's interesting, good to see them. They're one of the things that's intriguing about them is, I think you told me they had about 180 people who came for training last year, and each come for like 3 days. And many of them are staying at the Queensbury Hotel, so they're downtown. So it's an office that doesn't act like an office as far as the traffic that it brings downtown. which I think is a great thing. You know, people are coming in for several days, they're eating downtown, they're staying downtown, they're doing some shopping. So it's quite a bit more foot traffic than you have just from a, you know, there's anything wrong with the standard offices, but, you know, they sometimes don't bring the huge numbers that you really want, so. And they're growing, you know, they're gonna hit, I think, 10 million in sales, this year. So, and they have production facilities in Mexico, they've got offices in several countries around the world. It's an impressive operation, so we want to encourage it.
Yeah, I met with him too, and referred him to Jeff, and he's very committed to staying in Glens Falls with his business, so I would love to be able to help facilitate that. He seems very dedicated, they're doing well, they're expanding, that's what we wanna see. We want to encourage our local businesses to stay and to expand.
Yeah, he's actually looking to do a little bit of manufacturing. Apparently his family has some property in South Glens Falls on the road, and so they're citing that as an opportunity, but this is they're gonna expand here too, so. Good, and I'll have more for you on that.
Any other business? Okay, there's no executive session needed, so would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn? Mary? Second? Second. Denise? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Suzanne.
Suzanne, okay.
Judy, do you wanna gather these? I can just take these back to the bank and get the signatures now.
No, can we get them now? Is everyone here?
Release the sign.
Yeah. Here's this. Do you guys mind staying and signing? Whose signatures are?
The mayor. You, the mayor, me, John. I think there was only one that I want to say Jeff was on. And the only one we needed the resolution for, which we can wait on, was the CDC.
Yeah, because we didn't meet today, so we can't do that.
But I think everything else, they just needed the signatures and the additional information from you.
I got mine. I
Um,
did that.
Alright, I can,
So we'll get, John, if you can sign
Sure.
before you leave, and then I don't think we got anyone else. Tim?
I never got an email from, he said,
I thought
That's a separate matter, she'll touch base with you.
okay,
urban renewal.
Yeah.
I do sign for this.
I think you do. All right, but we're not gonna do that.
yeah, I don't have anything